a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Anne, Princess Royal. Anne, Princess Royal, is the second child and only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. At the time of her birth, she was third in the line of succession to the British throne, behind her mother then Princess Elizabeth and elder brother, Charles. She rose to second after her mother's accession, but is currently 12th in line. Anne is known for her charitable work, and is patron of over 200 organizations. She is also known for equestrian talents. She won 2 silver medals and 1 gold medal at the European Eventing Championships, and is the first member of the British royal family to have competed in the Olympic Games. Princess Anne has held the title of Princess Royal since 1987 and is its 7th holder. Anne was married to Captain Mark Phillips in 1973. They divorced in 1992. They have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. In 1992, within months of her divorce, Anne married Commander Sir Timothy Laurence, whom she had met while he served as her mother's equerry between 1986 and 1989. Early life and education. Anne was born at Clarence House on the 15th of August 1950 at 11:50 a.m., as the second child and only daughter of Princess Elizabeth, Duchess of Edinburgh, and Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. She is the second grandchild of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Anne was baptized in the music room of Buckingham Palace on the 21st of October 1950, by Archbishop of York, Cyril Garbett. A governess, Catherine Peebles, was appointed to look after Anne and was responsible for her early education at Buckingham Palace. Peebles also served as early governess for Anne's older brother, Charles. After the death of George VI, Anne's mother ascended the throne as Queen Elizabeth II. Given her young age, at the time, she did not attend the coronation. A Girl Guides Company, the first Buckingham Palace company to include the Holy Trinity Brompton Brownie Pack, was reformed in May 1959, specifically so that, as her mother and aunt had done as children, Anne could socialize with girls her own age. The company was active until 1963, when Anne went to boarding school. Anne enrolled at Benenden School in 1963. In 1968 she left school with 6 GCE O-levels and 2 A-levels. In the next couple of years, Anne started dating. In 1970 her first boyfriend was Andrew Parker Bowles, who later became the first husband of Camilla Shand. First marriage. On Wednesday, the 14th of November 1973, Princess Anne married Mark Phillips, a lieutenant in the 1st Queen's Dragoon Guards, at Westminster Abbey in a ceremony that was televised around the world, with an estimated audience of 100 million. Following the wedding, Anne and her husband lived at Gatcombe Park. He was made acting captain by the start of 1974 when he was appointed a personal aide-de-camp to Queen Elizabeth II. By 1989, however, Princess Anne and Mark Phillips announced their intention to separate, as the marriage had been under strain for a number of years. The couple divorced on the 23rd of April 1992. As was customary for untitled men marrying into the royal family, Phillips was offered an earldom. He declined this offer, leading to their children being born without courtesy titles. The couple would have 2 children, Peter and Zara Phillips. Anne became a grandmother on the 29th of December 2010 when Peter and his wife Autumn had a daughter, Savannah. On the 29th of March 2012, the couple had another daughter, Isla. Anne's third granddaughter, Mia Grace, was born on the 17th of January 2014 to Zara and her husband Mike Tyndall. On the 5th of January 2018, Zara and her husband Mike Tyndall announced that they are expecting their second child, due sometime in the summer. Kidnapping attempt. As Princess Anne and Mark Phillips were returning to Buckingham Palace on the 20th of March 1974, from a charity event on Pall Mall, their Princess 4 car was forced to stop on the mall by a Ford Escort. The driver of the Escort, Ian Ball, jumped out and began firing a pistol. Inspector James Beaton, Anne's personal police officer, responded by getting out of the car in order to shield her and to attempt to disarm Ball. Beaton's firearm, a Walther PPK, jammed, and he was shot by the assailant, as was Anne's chauffeur, Alex Callender, when he tried to disarm Ball. Brian McConnell, a nearby tabloid journalist, also intervened, and was shot in the chest. Ball approached Anne's car and told her of his kidnapping plan, which was to hold her for ransom, the sum given by varying sources as £2 million or £3 million, which he claimed he intended to give to the National Health Service. Ball then directed Anne to get out of the car, to which she replied, "Not bloody likely," and reportedly briefly considered hitting Ball. Eventually, she exited the other side of the limousine as had her lady-in-waiting, Rowena Brassey. A passing pedestrian, a former boxer named Ron Russell, punched Ball in the back of the head and then led Anne away from the scene. At that point, Police Constable Michael Hills happened upon the situation. He too was shot by Ball, but not before he called for police backup. Detective Constable Peter Edmonds, who had been nearby, answered and gave chase, finally arresting Ball. Beaton, Hills, Callender, and McConnell were hospitalized, and all recovered from their wounds. For his defense of Princess Anne, Beaton was awarded the George Cross by the Queen, who was visiting Indonesia when the incident occurred. Hills and Russell were awarded the George Medal, and Callender, McConnell, and Edmonds were awarded the Queen's Gallantry Medal. Anne later visited Beaton in hospital and thanked him for his assistance. She also spoke about the event on TV to Parkinson in 1974, saying she was scrupulously polite to her would-be kidnapper as she thought it would be silly to be too rude at that stage. Ball pleaded guilty to attempted murder and kidnapping. He was still detained under the Mental Health Act as of January 2011. At Broadmoor, the incident was the closest in modern times that any individual has come to kidnapping a member of the royal family, and prompted higher security levels for the family. It also served as the focus of the 2006 Granada television-produced docudrama To Kidnap a Princess, and inspired storylines in the Tom Clancy novel Patriot Games and the Antonia Fraser novel Your Royal Hostage. Second marriage. Anne married Timothy Laurence, then a commander in the Royal Navy, at Crathy Kirk, near Balmoral Castle, on 12 December 1992. The couple chose to marry in Scotland as the Church of England did not at that time allow divorced persons whose former spouses were still living to remarry in its churches. The Church of Scotland does not consider marriage to be a sacrament, and thus not binding forever, and has no moral objection to the remarriage of divorced persons. In participating in this ceremony, Anne became the first royal divorcee to remarry since Victoria, Grand Duchess of Hessen by Rhine, granddaughter of Queen Victoria, married Grand Duke Cyril Vladimirovich of Russia in 1905. Like Phillips before him, Laurence received no peerage, and the couple leased a flat in Dolphin Square, London. They later gave up this city home and now reside between an apartment at St James Palace and Gatcombe Park. Anne has no children by Laurence, nor does he have any children from a previous relationship or marriage. Court sanctions. The only reported court sanctions Anne has is one fine of £400 for speeding in March 2001, by Cheltenham Magistrates Court. In 2002 her dog Dottie attacked two children in Windsor Great Park. She was fined £500 by Berkshire Magistrates Court under the Dangerous Dogs Act 1991, and ordered to give Dottie more training. Equestrianism. At the age of 21, Anne won the individual title at the European Eventing Championship, and was voted the BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 1971. For more than 5 years, she also competed with the British eventing team, winning a silver medal in both individual and team disciplines in the 1975 European Eventing Championship, riding the homebred doublet. The following year, Anne participated in the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal as a member of the British team, riding the Queen's horse, Goodwill. Anne assumed the presidency of the Fédération Équestre Internationale from 1986 until 1994. On the 5th of February 1987, she became the first member of the royal family to appear as a contestant on a television quiz show, when she competed on the BBC panel game A Question of Sport. Activities. Anne undertakes a number of duties and engagements on behalf of her mother, in support of her role as Sovereign of the Commonwealth Realms. Kevin S. MacLeod, the Canadian Secretary to the Queen, said of Anne in 2014, "Her credo is, keep me busy. I'm here to work. I'm here to do good things. I'm here to meet as many people as possible." Anne began to undertake overseas visits upon leaving secondary school, and accompanied her parents on a state visit to Austria in the same year. She also travels abroad on behalf of the United Kingdom up to 3 times a year. She was the first member of the royal family to make an official visit to the Soviet Union when she went there as a guest of the government in 1990. Her first tour of Australia was with her parents in 1970, since which she has returned on numerous occasions to undertake official engagements as a colonel-in-chief of an Australian regiment, or to attend memorials and services, such as the National Memorial Service for victims of the Black Saturday bushfires in Melbourne, Australia, on the 22nd of February 2009. Following the retirement of the Queen Mother in 1981, Anne was elected by graduates of the University of London as that institution's Chancellor. Throughout May 1996, Anne served as Her Majesty's High Commissioner to the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, and held the post again in 2017. In 2007, she had the honour of being appointed by the Queen as Grand Master of the Royal Victorian Order, a position her grandmother had also held. Anne is involved with over 200 charities and organisations in an official capacity. She works extensively for Save the Children, of which she has been president since 1970. And she initiated the Princess Royal Trust for Carers in 1991. Her work for the charity takes her all over the world, including many poverty-stricken African nations. She is also the Royal Patron of WISE, an organisation that encourages young women to pursue careers in science, engineering and construction. Her extensive work for St. John Ambulance as Commandant-in-Chief of St. John Ambulance Cadets has helped to develop many young people, as she annually attends the Grand Prior Award reception. She is patron of St. Andrew's First Aid. She is a British representative in the International Olympic Committee as an administrator, and was a member of the London Organising Committee for the Olympic Games. She was president of BAFTA from 1973 to 2001. She maintains a relationship with students' sport and is the patron of British universities and colleges' sport. She has been patron of the Royal National Children's Foundation since 2002 and the Industrial Heritage Museum, Aerospace Bristol, since 2016. She is also a Royal Fellow of the Royal Society and the Academy of Medical Sciences. Royal Fellows are members of the monarchy who are recommended and elected by the Society's Council. The Royal Society has only 5 Royal Fellows, including the Princess Royal herself, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Kent, and the Duke of Cambridge. She is the Academy of Medical Sciences' first Royal Fellow. She was elected Chancellor of the University of Edinburgh in 2011, effective the 31st of March, succeeding her father, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, who stepped down from the role in 2010. Likewise, she accepted in 2011 the roles of President of City and Guilds of London Institute, Master of the Corporation of Trinity House, and President of the Royal Society of Arts, also in succession to her father. She is also patron of the Royal College of Occupational Therapists, Edinburgh University's Royal School of Veterinary Studies, Royal Holloway, University of London, International Students' House, London, Acid Survivors Trust International, and Towns Women's Guilds. The Perth Agreement and the Succession to the Crown Act 2013 reformed the line of succession to the British throne to absolute primogeniture. However, this was applied only to those born after the Act, so neither the Princess Royal nor her descendants at the time were moved ahead in the line. She represented Great Britain in the International Olympic Committee at the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics in Russia. In late October 2016, Princess Anne visited the Malaysian state of Sarawak for a 2-day study tour. In 2017 she became Prime Warden of the Worshipful Company of Fishmongers and a Governor of Gresham's School. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?